Hey everyone, in this video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about how to handle the purchase order module within Brahmin Solutions platform. We're going to show you how to create purchase orders, how to manage purchase orders, how to set up anything related to purchasing. We'll also cover reordering. There'll be more of a reordering screen specifically. There'll be a reordering video specifically how to automate it, best practices. We will cover a lot of the reordering here as well, but there'll be a more in-depth video. Okay, so if you're a wholesaler where you're buying and selling products or you're stocking inventory ahead of time before your sales come, things like that, you need to create purchase orders so that you can bring inventory in. And another reason it's also really important to create purchase orders is so that you can track your cost of goods, okay? And you can add any landed costs associated with these items so that you can actually, track that as well so you get a more accurate cost of goods, okay? Again, if you're a manufacturer and you are producing your own products, you need to buy enough raw material so you can actually complete your production runs, okay? So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight items. So when you set up your items, your variants, so I'm going to go over to buy here, okay? So if I were to pull up the SKU JH001, you'll see there's a flag here called buy, okay? So if this item needs to be on a purchase order, it needs to have a buy flag, okay? So if it has a buy flag, then that means that you actually have the ability to, put this on a PO and so on, okay? Second thing is you want to make sure you have a supplier set up. Sure, I'm going to move myself here. So you want to make sure you have a supplier set up. So we allow one default supplier. If it is a default supplier, you actually do not enter the pricing here. The pricing actually gets entered here. Okay. And then you can also set up lead time. You can also set up if this supplier is a dropship vendor or not. Okay. All right, I can add another vendor if I want to. Again, only one vendor is primary. Since they're not a primary vendor, you would actually have to enter your pricing there, okay? So for this vendor, it would automatically use the pricing of 2,000, but for the next vendor that is not primary, it would use whatever the pricing that you set up there, okay? So once you have this so you need to have this configured. You can create a purchase order without having this configured, but this allows you to automatically create it. Also, the system will suggest if we're running low, it says, hey, you already have a primary vendor. You should order it at this time. As a result, you'll get it in this amount of days based on this lead time, okay? Next thing that we'd want to do is also, this is more to automate purchasing, you can also set up a min and max per the warehouse. So again, that if you're running low, that the system will suggest that you reorder this item, okay, from that specific vendor. Okay, so now that you have your product set up, product configured with the vendor, with the pricing and all of that. Okay, so now let's take a look at from where, how do I go about creating purchase orders within Brahmin? So one of the things, if you have this data already preset, like pre-configured, with the supplier, default supplier, lead, and maxes, what happens is there is a report called the Reorder Report. And what this report does is it actually shows you all the items you're short on. And this is a way for you to create purchase orders in bulk. So what it does is it looks at, if you don't have a min max set, it assumes 0. So it says, hey, I have 22 allocated, that's my need. And as a result, I have, nothing on hand. So my availability is negative 22, but I'm expecting 11. Okay. So now, as a result, in order for me to bring me back to my max, which is 0, it says I need to order 11 from Core Systems Ltd. If I order it now, I'll get it on January 6th, again, based on the lead time that was set. Okay. So what this does is this shows you what you need to order and when you can expect it. And I have the ability to see all the items that I'm short on. Again, I also have the ability to kind of only search by non-primary vendors. I can only search by a specific vendor and then select all and create. And if the items have the same vendor, it will bulk them together and create one PO. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and let me organize this by vendor name. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select these two and I'm going to say, generate a PO. Again, they'll still appear on the reorder report until I go to the purchasing side. And what it's going to do is it's going to put it into the draft status. So it's that quantity of 11 and 22 are now on this specific PO. Okay, with the price automatically populated And there you go. So this is one way to create a PO automatically. So you look at your reorder report and then just to have the system created. Okay. Another thing that you have the ability to do, I want to take one step back, actually go back to the product configuration. There's a lot of times customers are buying, it happens a lot in manufacturing. You're tracking something, in one unit of measure, but maybe you're buying it in case, you're buying it in a bulk unit of measure, and that's how you're getting your pricing. So one of the things that you could do is I'm going to go back to one of the products. Okay. And let's say it's a energy core here. Okay. What you can actually do is you could buy something. You could be buying something in a case pack or a pallet. All right. That's how you're buying it in bulk and you're getting that specific pricing. So what you can actually do in the system is you can set up another unit of measure. So here I'm going to call it a case, and I'm going to say a case has about 10 of these items. Okay. Or actually in this case, let's just make it more sense. Let's go a pallet. A pallet comes with 10 of these. Okay. So there you go. All right. So now I can put the purchase price at, maybe there's a little bit of a discount that I'm buying it in bulk. So I can put it at 38,000. Okay. So there you go. So now what I've done is I've created another unit of measure for this. Okay. So I've created another unit of measure. And now when I'm creating a purchase order or anything like that, I can actually buy it in that unit of measure. Okay. So this energy core, let's say, you need 11, right? So essentially I need to buy 2 pallets worth of it. Okay. So what I could do is I can type in energy core and then change it to pallet. And then you will see that I need to buy essentially 2 pallets. Okay. All right. And then the system will take care of the allocation. It knows that 1 pallet equals 10 units. So when you're looking at expected quantity and things like that, it's going to automatically tell you that you're expecting 20 units because the unit of measure that you're tracking in the inventory is eaches, but you're purchasing in a pallet. Okay. All right. So again, in order to, this PO is in a draft status, couple things. So when you're creating a PO, all you need to do is you can do it through the automation, through the reorder points. You can also do it by clicking new, typing in the vendor name, and then adding in the items. Okay. The first status of a PO is typically draft. You don't have to keep it in a draft status. You can confirm it. And confirming a PO, what it does is it puts it into an open status. All right. So that means inventory is now increased to being expected. This whole screen of view purchases, it will appear here in the open screen. And this screen is organized based on the most recent expected date. So the earliest expected date for a PO will be on top. The later POs arriving later will be on the bottom. Okay. Draft will contain your draft, your basically your draft POs that haven't been finalized yet. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this PO, go put it into the confirm stage in a little bit. All right. A couple other filters we have are to receive. And we also have late purchases. So if anything that is past these dates, right, these are all expected November 14th, but if it's past that date, it's going to appear on a late. Okay. And then all will show you all of the POs. So here you can manage all the POs. Also, a couple other things a lot of customers like to do is if you need to make some notes on specific POs or anything like that, you can use tags for extra filtering of POs. So if this is a PO that was, it's like a hurry up PO or something like that, you have the ability to do so that again, you can filter. Okay. All right. Or maybe this PO is specifically for a customer. Like maybe you're back ordering and this PO will specifically fulfill that customer's order. You have the ability to kind of maybe make a tag of it so that when you're searching here, you can just maybe search by the tag name, which is associated with the customer. All right. Okay, going over to the draft side. So here I'm going to open this up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, confirm this order, that this order will come in on, let's say, it'll come in Tuesday. Okay, so we're going to confirm it. Now what happens is you'll see the receiving and bills tag here, bills tab. Okay, so once you confirm a PO, inventory is now expected. So now 2 pallets means 20 is now expected. These 2 items are now off of the reorder report because now that the PO has been placed. So you'll see that those 2 items are no longer on the report because The expected quantity now meets the missing quantity, right? So now that's gone. And you also have the ability, once you create a PO, there's a few other things you could do. You have the ability to email the PO right to your supplier. Okay, so you can create an email and then send it off, and the system will track that this email has been sent. Another thing that you could do is any communication that you have specifically related to this PO, you have the ability to kind of make a note of it in memos. All right. Okay. A couple things after you get the inventory into your warehouse and you're now ready to receive this inventory, you go over to the receiving tab and just mark this thing as received. Okay. If things are lot tracked, you'll have the ability you'll have to enter in the lots as you're receiving this inventory. If it is serial tracked, you're going to have to enter the serial number. Okay. And then you also need to put in the location as to where you're putting this item away. All right. You can also do multi-receipts. So that means if you only received like one portion of the item, let's say you only received one pallet, you can only track that you received one pallet, that you're expecting another pallet later on. Okay. So you can track that as well. All right. The other thing that you could do is you can create bills, which then sync up to your accounting, QuickBooks or Xero. So once the bill is created here, once the replica or the invoice that you get from your vendor, once that is acknowledged, you can acknowledge it here, and then automatically that's sent up to your accounting platform. You can also use your own. You can use the vendor sales order number as the bill number. You can also set up payment terms and so on. Okay. Again, there's a specific video. You should watch you should either watch the QuickBooks video or the Xero video to get an understanding of how this specific works with your accounting platform. Okay. All right. Moving on to the bill side. Okay. A couple other things you can do on the bill side. You can duplicate POs. You can actually create a sales order right off of this. So if you're going to take this and ship it to someone else, you can create a sales order right off of this. You also can do a bunch of bulk actions here. So you can select multiple POs, and you can either download the POs, which is the PDF format. You can confirm them, unconfirm them, meaning putting them back into a draft status. You can also combine POs. The only thing is you can only combine POs that are in a draft status. You can't combine confirmed POs. You actually need to put them into draft, and then you have the ability to combine. And then they have to be from the same supply. They have to be the same supplier. So essentially, it'd be like I have the ability to confirm these both, right? The Core Systems Ltd. All right. Okay. All right. So other things. So POs can be basically made manually. They could be made through reorder reports, but they can also be done from the sales side. So if I have a sales order, right, and let's say I buy this item specifically, I can actually just go to the sales order, click action, and then say create a purchase order right off of this. And what the system would do is this cannot be bought. But what the system would do is it would show you the supplier, the items, and allow you to just buy. Okay? So let's actually pull one of the orders with, okay, so if I were to go action, create PO, there it is. It's going to tell you the SKU, the quantity. I can only buy short products only if I want to. Or I can just buy everything that's on the sales order just directly from the supplier. Okay, so you have the ability to create sales order right from this, and then what it does is it kind of links them together. And when it does link them together, you can actually see from both. So if I were to just go ahead, create a purchase order directly from here, it creates this order, and then you'll see them linked that this PO is, this sales order is now linked with this PO, and then this PO is linked with this sales order. Okay, so it's so you can kind of go back and forth and see. Okay, another place where you can create POs is through the manufacturing side. I can go to manufacturing, see a list of my manufacturing orders. I can just go into a manufacturing order and say action, create purchase orders. Okay, so I can create a purchase order, same exact thing. It does the linking because you created a PO specifically for this. All right. So depending on your workflows, you either can create POs from each manufacturing order. You can create a bunch of POs from a bunch of manufacturing orders and then just combine them together. right? If they're in the same supplier, so you can do that. Or what you could do is you can manually create POs by looking at what's short and then making a PO off of that. Or you can just use the reorder report, which kind of automates all this. So you just look at everything that's short and you just create a PO right off of that. It kind of does the job for you. Okay, so that's just an example. So those are just different ways for you to create POs. One thing I did forget to mention is actually landed costs. So on the purchase orders, let's say you want to track the item landed. There is the ability, you go to edit here. Let me move myself out of the way. Edit here, there is an option called landed cost. You create landed cost here, and then let's say this item that they're charging you shipping or anything like that, and you want to include the shipping cost into the cost per item. So let's say it's 500. You can go ahead and add it, and what it does is it's going to split this cost based on the quantity. So each unit would bear the quantity accordingly. Okay, all right. Or you can actually also do it by you can also do it by cost. You can also do it by weight. This whole setting, right, is going to be in settings here. You go to configurations, and then there is an option called landed cost. And here you can decide, okay, this is shipping based off of, quantity, right? You can also toggle it to cost so that the most expensive item gets more of the charge. Okay. All right. And then again, just to kind of highlight, you can see the cost of it. You can see the unit price, but then, if you add landed cost, you're going to see it per cost landed. So when inventory is received, we'll track. Once inventory is received, we'll actually track, we'll take the cost landed and add it to the current inventory value and then average it out again. So you're going to get, a more accurate cost with the item landed. Okay. There's going to be a specific video for COGS and costs. So watch that and it'll give you a better idea. Okay. So this is a whole overview of the purchase order module. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us, talk to us. We'll kind of walk you through this with your own workflow. All right. Thank you.